like a diamond, shine bright like a diamond. Fine light in the beautiful sea, I chose to be happy. You and I, we're like diamonds in the sky.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me for a new little show I like to call Matrix Metrics. Working title. If anybody has any better ideas, feel free to fire them off in the chat. But wanted to use this as kind of like a little recap / preview show. And I apologize for missing you in week 1. It was a busy week. So figured I'd start off week 2 by giving a little recap of what happened last week.
Because that's what heroes do.
All right, here we go with the scores from last week. There are probably some of us that don't want to relive this, but we're going to do it anyways. At the top, we have Cody and Ryan, and like I said at the draft, Cody has been my kryptonite and was 16-4 coming into this game and pretty much kept up with the same old. Took another win, he's now 17-4 and gained $10 in the process. Next is Randall versus Scott. Scott came into this game holding a narrow 11-10 edge overall in the series, but Randall was able to even the score here narrowly, but they now stand locked at 11 wins apiece. Moving on to Kevin versus Drew. Drew came into this holding the 9-7 overall edge in this matchup, and Kevin has taken 2 out of the last 3, now 3 out of the last 4, moving it to 9-8 the edge for Drew. Kevin inching ever so close to reaching 500, which he hasn't had in this series since 2015. Moving on to Noah and Brian, these two have met 6 times and have split. They're 3-3, deadlocked overall, meeting once a year since Noah first came into the league. Well, deadlock no more as Noah takes the win here and now owns the 4-3 advantage in the series. And last but certainly not least, we have Mitch versus Daniel. Daniel came into this game with a 6-5 series lead, but thanks to Christian McCaffrey and Mitch's quick action on the waiver wire, the series is now locked up 6-6.
Hey, we've kicked it off. Let's go, boys. Woo!
One more thing from week 1. Just because we voted it out as a punishment does not mean I won't recognize it in a YouTube video, and that is the week 1 Bench Boner Award. Received this week by none other than our reigning champion, Scott Butler. Choosing to sit Jaden Reed instead of Drake London, leaving 33 points on the bench. Scott, I bet you wish you had those back.
Oh, son of a... That's going to leave a mark.
Here's the standings after week 1. Half on top, half on the bottom. Everybody's still with playoff hopes.
Playoffs?
All right, now that we put week 1 behind us, let's move on to week 2. We'll start out with the games that are already decided. First up is Kevin versus Daniel. And we all know how Daniel came into the week. In all seriousness, it was a good rebound for Daniel this week, putting up some serious points, but wasn't a whole lot he could do against Kevin's team, putting up 230.5, which is easily going to take home our $10 high score.
Show me the money!
Daniel came into this matchup leading 6-4 overall, although on a 3-game losing streak, well, make that 4. Next in our games that have already been decided is 2 of our founding fathers, Randall versus Drew, meeting for the 23rd time. Randall leads the overall series 13-9, but Drew will pick one up here as this one's been decided, and these two have to worry about finishing in last place and taking this week's shot.
Rawr.
Next up, we have Cody versus Mitch, and this one's not over yet, but it might as well be. Mitch would need basically a miracle out of his 3 players going on Monday night to overcome Cody. Cody came into this matchup with a 9-7 overall lead, and it looks like he's going to make it double digits here. About the only thing worth watching in this matchup is the bench right now, as these two both could have a shot at a Bench Boner Award this week.
This went from 6 to midnight.
Speaking of miracles, Scott needs one here as well. Drake London is his only fighting chance on Monday night, but Drake also happens to be the same one that got him the Bench Boner Award last week. Good news is here, he has a chance to do it 2 weeks in a row. Scott came into this game leading the overall series 6-2 versus Noah, but Noah's going to get back in the win column here and end his 4-game losing streak to Scott.
I'm kind of a big deal.
And lastly, we have our game of the week. Ryan versus Brian, 2 of the other founding fathers. meeting for a RAR record 28th time. You can't really call it a rivalry as Brian leads the overall series 17-10, but the commish is going to notch one in the win column this week, barring an absolute meltdown on Monday night. Brian's trying to avoid a meltdown of his own as he needs 17 points to avoid taking this week's shot. But coming off of Oktoberfest weekend, it would be fun to see Brian chug something out of Das Boot.
Now, this air bubble shoots around the heel and explodes towards your face while you drink it.
Speaking of exploding in your face, thank you so much for letting me penetrate your phones and your ear holes. Looking forward to seeing who's going to be taking the shot or shotgun this week. And since me and Brian's game is the only game that's pretty much undecided, to everybody else, best of luck next week, and I'll see you soon.